Okay.
Is it because of his big brain?
But, so anyway, like you can, it's not Margaret Atwood saying that Christians are going to take over the U.S. She's just saying that here's a story, of what it might be like if in a world where this happened. And anyway, these fundamentalists, vicious fundamentalists, blow up the Capitol and kill the government, and they take over.
I'm thinking of writing a book. It's about these liberal Democrats who are complete fucking assholes, that they're just stupid and violent and brutish thugs.
We'll get into
that. They
that.
voted for Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, and they're just real assholes, and they need to be put in prison or something, or mental hospitals. Anyway, go ahead.
Is this because you're feuding with a bunch of liberals on the
No,
internet
it's just
right
like,
now?
well, I know, I'm Margaret Atwood. I've got a great idea for a book. I'll say that fundamentalist Christians are a bunch of fucking assholes. Like, oh, sure, that's very plausible. Yeah, why didn't I write a book about liberal Bernie Sanders voters? They all turn into zombies and start eating babies. What a ridiculous premise.
Just to be the devil's advocate here, wasn't this country founded by fundamental Christians? I'm just putting that out there.
Oh my God.
But
Thank you.
This is something to talk about.
but hold on a
Thank
second. Your dad, you grew up in the world of writing stories.
Okay.
And your dad, he wrote probably 30, 40, 50 screenplays.
Yeah.
He was nominated for two or three Oscars, won an Oscar.
Yeah. He was.
I bet you his primary concern was, is this a good story?
Well, you know what his attitude was? If people laugh, it's good.
Yeah.
If they don't laugh, it's bad.
So Margaret Atwood, like she sees, it's the mid-'80s, she sees Jerry Falwell and Jim and Tammy Faye Baker, just kind of, and the 700 Club, and just being, it was the rise of, during the Reagan era, that was first time that Republicans had learned how to get evangelical Christians involved politically. And it was the rise of evangelicals in politics. Okay. And she was extrapolating from that, but just because she's extrapolating doesn't mean that this is the future she's predicting. She's like, this is a good story element. The same way we got Blade Runner 2049 coming out next month, and everybody's very excited. Because I'm going
to wait, may I interrupt for 1 second? Yeah. I don't have to, but this is to your point, so it's before we move further. Let me just put it this way. Supposing Margaret Atwood had said a bunch of Jews and blacks got together and they'd taken over the government and they were like raping all the white women, would that be a perfectly reasonable story, just entertainment?
Well, it depends on how it's developed.
You know perfectly well that your whole argument is wiped out with that one question.
No, but last week you had the argument that America is afraid to make movies where Arabs are the villains, the terrorists.
Yes, I did.
And then I called you all excited with disproof because there's a movie that is either out or coming out called American Assassin.
But you didn't even see the movie.
Yeah, but I read a review, and it's the guy's. I don't want to spoil it or anything.
Well, don't then. But it turns out that, of course, America is at fault. Of course.
I don't know why. Did you see the movie?
No, I heard a review. Somebody was saying, of course, America's the bad guy in this movie.
Not the only bad guy.
Wrong again, Rick.
No, we'd have to see the movie.
Okay,
or read
fine.
more reviews.
But you were going to tell me about Blade Runner. Well, I interrupted you.
All right. Well, the deal is like frickin' people loved Blade Runner because it looked so cool when it came out. It was this future world that was both super futuristic and super crappy. And you got Harrison Ford arguing with a noodle vendor about whether he gets 2 pieces of fish or 4 pieces.
Yes, you mentioned that last week.
And you've got super hot looking kind of, well, they're humans, but they're vat-grown humans. Got Daryl Hannah as one.
I understand. What is your point, sir?
The point is that, like, it wasn't like the people who made Blade Runner were saying, this is the future. Any more than the people who made Alien were saying, well, in the future, people are going to get eaten by alien creatures that have acid for blood.
And my argument is that if you were Margaret Atwood and you had a choice between making a book about fundamentalist Christians taking over, or blacks and Jews taking over and raping all the white women, what do you think you could get published?
I don't know, if you go to the movie network from the, late 70s, early 80s, they've got like black terrorists in that movie presented dark comedically.
Could you do that now?
Yep, you could remake Network.
Okay, let me get this straight. You're telling me that today you could make a movie about blacks taking over America and raping the white women?
I didn't say that, I said you could remake Network.
Could you make a movie about fundamentalist Christians taking over and raping people?
Well, that's
What's more likely?
well, I know what's been made, and The Handmaid's Tale is a successful production.
About fundamentalist Christians taking over America.
Pretty much.
Could you do a movie about blacks and Jews taking over America?
Here's a movie I think would be fun to make.
Could you do a movie about Muslims taking over America?
Yes.
You could?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think so, but it would be tricky.
Could you do a movie about homosexuals taking over America? Making everybody gay? Could you do that movie, Rick?
That would be, if you were gay and it was a comedy, yes.
Not a comedy, a deadly serious one like these fundamentalist Christians from The Handmaid's Tale, taking over and trying to make everyone Christian. Could you do that about homosexuals?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Because
really? You think that?
In the 70s, Ira Levin came out with a book. He's the guy who wrote The Stepford Wives.
Mm-hmm.
He came out with a book that was, what if societal standards for men and women were reversed? And it was basically all the guys were coerced into being gay by society. And if somebody wanted to make a movie of that, yeah, they could probably get it, It'd have to be an indie movie, a major studio wouldn't commit $80 million to make it. But yeah, you could probably, somebody could make a movie about.
Well, I can make that. I can make any movie I want using my friends and a $100 camera.
Yeah.
I am saying that no major studio today,
I get what you're saying, but actually we had this discussion.
will do any movie where minorities or quote-unquote oppressed, victimized groups take over America and try to be mean to everybody. That's not going to happen, Rick. The only people you could make a movie about where the people that are the bad guys would be white, fundamentalist Christians and men. That's it. Those are the only bad guys.
Let me agree with you.
Or zombies.
Let me agree with you to some extent, where it's, some things are easier to get made than others. And we've grown up in the sitcom culture. It's always okay to kind of go after the dad and authority figures.
Why do you suppose that is, Rick? Think it's an accident?
Well, you're not going to, because, MASH was on forever.
Okay.
And
Anti-war movie.
Not just anti-war, but anti-authority.
No, it's anti-war. I mean, you can't deny that.
But
it's a pacifist.
Yeah, but in terms
it's a pacifist.
the movie was, but in terms
And
of
the sitcom is pro-pacifist.
right. But
Okay.
in terms of the mechanics of each half-hour show, it was less about being anti-war and more about being the guys who were in charge, the guys with true authority.
Yeah, like the people that are prosecuting the war, like MacArthur and.
No, you never
and
saw
Truman.
MacArthur. No.
MacArthur was in MASH.
I
One of the episodes.
Well, I don't know. I don't remember. But anyway, like the characters who were there all the time, like Frank Burns, Hot Lips Houlihan, the people who gravitated towards power, were dicks.
Yeah, and the reason they were dicks is not because they gravitated towards power, it's because they were warmongers. They were Republicans. That's why
I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, good. So what you're agreeing with me about is that the media, for the past at least 40 years, has been trying to convince people to be left-wing by portraying right-wingers as assholes.